everyone, it's Mrs. U here again. How have you been? I hope you have all been well. We're back here for another episode of That's So You. I'm not going to try and guess which episode this is, but obviously you would have seen it in the title. So yeah, still on lockdown. I think most of the world is on lockdown, though I know there are some countries that have lifted it, but yeah, here we are still on lockdown. Kids are still at home, and I am home learning or homeschooling at the moment, so that's why I haven't been around as much on all social medias, including Instagram. Yes, things have been very busy. But today, this evening, everybody just randomly, Mr. U put on Avengers: The Winter Soldier. And so they're all watching that, so it's the perfect time to do an episode. I wanted to watch as well because it's the only one of the Avengers films that I haven't watched fully. But, you know, I thought this would be more important to do. So what do I have for you today? Before I get into that, I just want to say thank you if you are a returning viewer, and if you are a new viewer, because I do know that there are some new subscribers, welcome. This is a mainly knitting podcast, but there is a little bit of crochet here and there and some other crafty makes. You would have seen, hopefully, some of my details. Most likely I'll put it here of where to find me, so head on over, pop over there, and if you haven't subscribed already, do click on the subscribe button, hit the bell to be notified of new episodes, like and comment because it helps with the algorithms. So now that's all out of the way, today I have technically it's three finished objects, but one of them is something that I'm sure I would have shown already. One I know I have shown already, but it wasn't fully finished at the time. And one of those is also two of them are a design project, and one is crochet. And then I have one whip and one sort of long-term whip. So I'll show you the first finished object. This is, I think I showed this in my last episode. It's the Knitted Infinity scarf. So I have, did I actually seam? I can't remember now if I had seamed everything the last time I showed you. I'm not sure if I had, but yeah. If I didn't show you, I'm showing you now. If I've already shown you, well, you can see it again. So yeah, everything's been seamed, and this is what it looks like in full. It's been seamed, it's been blocked. So I just need to properly write out the pattern and then get it tested. So this is how it looks like on. So something kind of like this. So it features a I'll just take it off again. It features sort of a ribbed, sort of vertical ribbed, what was this, horizontal ribbed section, sort of ribbed section here. Then you have colorwork section, and then just a plain stocking stitch section, and more colorwork there, and then back to this. The yarns I used for this were Countess Ablaze. I'm not okay, and it's that's the colorway. The base I can't remember, I'll put that on there. And this purple is Malabrigo. It's in the Africana Violetta colorway, and I can't remember what this is, but this was just a regular. I can't remember the brand. It wasn't one of the top brands, but it wasn't like the really bottom ones. Somewhere sort of halfway, I think, if I remember rightly. But yeah, so this is all done. I still don't have a full name for this yet. I guess it'll depend on what I call the crochet one, because there's also the crochet infinity scarf, and my plan is to release both of them at the same time as separate projects, so you could either go for the knitted version or the crocheted version. Yeah, so once I've written up the pattern, got it tested, and then thought of a name, that will be out. My other finished object is a crocheted top. This is the first crochet I've done in some time, and this is a top I made for Little Miss. It's I can't remember the full name of it, but it's designed by I think it's called the Moule Hole or the Moule Hole. I'll put the name up there. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but yeah, I pretty much did this in 2 days. It's very, very, very quick knit, and that's one of the things I love about crochet, is just how quick it is to work something up. The yarn I used for this was Juniper Moon, Findley DK. I used some I had some birthday money, I think not last year, the year before, and I'd bought this yarn. I think in total I got 3, 4, 5, 6, I think maybe about 6 skeins in different colors, 3 purple, 1 of this blue, 1 sort of reddish one, and another one I think. So I was initially going to use it to design a pattern, but when Little Miss said that she would like this particular top made, it's the only yarn I had that I thought would work in that particular weight. So yeah, and she liked the color as well, so she absolutely loves this. I recently added the heart badge as well. She wore it the day after I finished it, even though the badge wasn't on it. So yeah, she is really happy about this. I haven't fully weaved in those ends there, but that's all right. So yeah, and I've already decided on another project, another item to make for her, which she's very happy about. But I'll probably tell you that in a moment. Now next, this isn't, as I said, a finished object. It's finished, but it's one I've shown before. It's going to be the next pattern that I release, and it will be the first of the Fairly Odd Socks Volume 2 collection. So these are, I've got one on sock blockers and one with that's not, are Hugs and Kisses, and it's the XOXO socks. So my tester finished working on them, I think today. She just sent a picture in earlier today. So all I just have to do is check some numbers with the other sizes, and then hopefully I can get this released over the weekend or by Monday. So yeah, this is socks, just the foots and the pot leg, just basic vanilla sock knitting, and then the magic happens when you get to the cuffs. So for this one, you have this sort of circular, I would say sort of honeycomb type stitch pattern. Again, haven't woven in the ends. I'm not going to be wearing these. I've decided that from now on I'm not going to be wearing my design socks, because there were a set I had been wearing. I think it was one of the ones that it's one I've renamed. I think I've shown it to you, but I've renamed it because a hole wore into it, because I was wearing it before I'd fully written up the pattern and everything. So I've decided not to wear my hand designer socks. If I want to wear them, then I'll have to make another set to wear, but these will just go in a box just to keep them safe until I'm in a position where I'm able to get sample knitters and to make me a bunch of stuff. But anyway, so this is more like a honeycomb design. So this is Hugs, and then you have Kisses, which is this sort of a crisscross Celtic plaits cable design, and both of them have buttons on the side to hold them up. So yeah, this is the first sock from the Fairly Odd Socks collection. Those of you who don't know, the Fairly Odd Socks collection is a collection of socks that are the same but different, and it's kind of like having a pair of odd socks. So within the pattern, you'll have the instructions for this and the instructions for this. So you could make one of each, as I've done here, or you can make two of these or two of these, and then you've got either matching socks or odd pairs of socks. And it's the same with all the socks in the pattern. There's something that unifies them, but at the same time there's also something that makes them different, and you can choose how you make them up. So in total for the whole collection, there's 4 projects in terms of pairs of socks, but you have altogether 8 individual patterns. So you could mix and match in any way that you wanted. So these are the first ones. There's another pair, the Sisters Not Twins socks, that's coming to the end of the testing process. And again, I just have to check some numbers and some of the other sizes that I wasn't able to get testers for. And that should hopefully come out the week after this one. So that's my aim for now. And I've just begun testing on the third sock, which is the I don't know whether I'm coming or going socks. Speaking of those socks and the testing, I have started a Facebook testers group. I'll put details of that in the description box, and I am looking for testers to join. Even if you're not available to test these socks, just have your availability there, so then whenever a test does come up, you can just express your interest. It's a closed group, so in order to join you will have to answer 2 questions, but these are just questions for me to get an idea of you. So the first one is just asking whether or not you are a knitter or crocheter. I am looking for both, but I just want to know initially how much of each I get. The second question is just asking for your Instagram handle or Ravelry name, just so I can have a look at what things you have made to see whether you are a knitter or crochet with a capital K or C, or someone who dips in here and there. I would prefer people who do tend to do this more often, as opposed to being something that's just kind of once a year they'll just pick up a project to work on. And with that in mind, I'm not looking for any particular level of experience. I'm happy to have both beginner and experienced knitters, because most of my patterns aren't extremely complicated. And even for something like this, it would be good to, even though I would class this as being more of either intermediate or adventurous beginner, so it'd be great if a beginner could work on this. So then there's things I can see that would help me in thinking about how certain things are explained. Even though the pattern itself might not be directed at beginners, it'll just give me an idea of ways in which the patterns or future patterns could be worded, depending on what type of knitter I'm aiming for. So yeah, I'm open to beginner, experienced knitters as well. Yeah, so I'll put details of the group at the bottom, so if you are interested, just click on away there and request to join. The next item I'm going to show is, okay, I'll do this one first. One I have not shown in a very long time. It is my scrap yarn blanket or mitered square blanket. When was this? It would be not this Sunday, but the week before the last Sunday. It was, I can't remember who it was, on Instagram. She shared that she was now going to dedicate Sundays to working on her scrap blanket, and I thought that's a great idea because it'd been so long since I'd touched my one, so I've started doing the same thing. So the Sunday just gone, today is the 14th of May, so the Sunday just gone, which would have been the 10th of May, was my second week of doing this. So this is what I have so far, and I've started this, when I say a long time ago, I'm talking maybe 3 or so years ago I started this, and I would have imagined that I would be a lot further than this by then. So when I did pick this up 2 weeks ago, this side was only up to here, so, and this side was only up to here. So in the past 2 weeks, or 2 Sundays of working on this, I've added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks. So that will be this, this, and this. So these 3 here, and also these 2 here. And I also started on 1 here, but I didn't manage to finish that one on Sunday. So this is where I'll begin this coming Sunday. And I think it's a great idea working it that way. So that means I will be able to get something done. If I do continue this way, by the end of the year I should have a nice size blanket. The way I'm working mine is you can see this line that indicates the center of each square. So my one's kind of going out that way, so it's going like this. When I got the idea to do this, I didn't actually think how that would affect the way that I would have to join each ball, because it means now that I'm starting another one, every new row has to be started at the center because of the way you attach each ball. Let's see if I can explain. So for this one, I have to have like this and going like this in order for the stripes to be going in this direction, because we're working this way and joining everything up. So the center line is going to be going like this. If I joined it here, I would do the same thing going like this. But then in order to have the same direction, the line going in the same direction here, I would have to do the same thing, cast on here and cast on here, and be working in like this direction like this. But then there'll be no way to join up these 2 blocks. So the only way for these 2 blocks to be joined up would be to start here and go like this way. Hope this makes sense. And then when I get here, I will now pick up along here and pick up here, and then keep working in that direction, and the same here, pick up the edge of this one and this edge here and work in that way. And so then when I'm going in this direction, I'll then pick up along this edge here and pick up here and then work in this direction. So that didn't come to my mind when I first started it. If I had worked this the normal way and having everything going in one direction, then that wouldn't have been a problem. I could just start at the end and work all the way through. What I would like to have is for this to be longer. I have a little graph book that I've been making notes of what each yarn is, and my plan is to make it so that it is, I think it's 20 columns in each row. So at the moment I have 10, I think. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, yeah. So I would like to have 20 blocks going across, and then going down is just however many I can get. So this is going well so far. I am enjoying working on this each Sunday, doing a bit of TV watching as I'm making it, just watching along with the family. So that's going well. So hopefully I can keep this up and do some more. The final make that I have is a sweater for myself. I do want to have more knitted garments, especially sweaters I can either, or jumpers I could wear on a day-to-day basis, or something I could wear for more of a special occasion, so going out or for church or something. So the one I'm working on now is just more of a basic everyday jumper. This is Pavement Sweater by Vera Valiamaki. Hope I've said that right. This is where I'm up to so far. So this is where I'm up to so far. I've done the raglan shaping, and I'm now just on the body. I'm not sure how far I've gone, but yeah, this is what I've done so far. So this is the sleeve, and this is where I'm going. So when I place it in front of me, I'm kind of up to here, I believe, just there. So I've still got a way to go before I start doing the hem and then the sleeves. The yarn I'm using is 3rd Volt yarns. This, I think this is Librarian Sock. 3rd Volt yarns, I believe Librarian Sock on the One Single Tribe colorway. This is a Black Panther themed yarn. I was going to use this initially to do a crocheted shawl, but as I was working the idea, I just wasn't really feeling it anymore, the pattern itself. So I decided I'd much prefer the yarn to go into a jumper. So yeah, it's a bit darker than that. I'll say it's hard because of the light. It's hard to get what the actual true color is, but it's darker than what it's showing up on the screen. But I do absolutely love this yarn, and so I'm still on my first ball. I'll be so happy when this is finished. Then I'll move on to my next project, which I'm hoping would be a cardigan, because the only knitted cardigan I have, the only two I have, one is the Blue Sands one, which came out longer than I wanted, and also it's in cotton, so it's stretching a lot, and I need to retwist my hair. And then also there's another one by Isabel Kramer that, because I kind of got a bit too I overdid the blocking, so the back is kind of stretched a bit too much, which means it doesn't sit on my shoulders well. I have found a way that I can fix it, but I haven't done that yet. So it's only those two that I have in terms of cardigans, but I would like a proper cardigan, possibly one with buttons on it that I could do up, that it looks a little bit fancy. Yeah, so that's one thing I'm planning, and I also plan to redo the texture tied top. I did make that some time ago. It was for as part of the I think it was called the Great British Yarn or something like that, Cal, that was being hosted by Amy Florence of the Stranded podcast. But I didn't get to finish that, and I was using such a mix of yarns that I wasn't liking how everything was working together. But I've now have a sort of final decision on yarns I'm going to use for that. Once I have finalized it, I will get to work on that as well. Yeah, so that's all I've got in terms of my actual knitting. Other stuff to talk about, other than the pattern releases coming out. I do have another idea for a crocheted pattern, but this is going to be something that's going to be a bigger project. So I'm still working on actual stitch patterns for that, but I'm hoping to be able to get into that soon once this whole COVID stuff is done and the kids are back in school. Yeah, I don't know if they are going to get back to school before the summer holidays, and then we're going to have summer holidays and I'm still going to have them here all day long. So we'll just see. So I just have to see how I can work around everybody being here. At least by that time I'm not going to be doing homeschooling or anything in the same way. So we'll see. Other things to talk about. I've been thinking of doing something, well, I've seen on YouTube, mostly from artists, where they do a story time and they will be drawing or painting whilst just talking and talking about a particular story or something. So I've been thinking of doing something similar to that, but maybe not necessarily with knitting or crochet. I don't know if anybody would just want to sit there watching someone's hands knit or crochet whilst talking, but maybe with something with polymer clay. So that's an idea I've been thinking of doing. I'm just trying to come up with ideas for things I could make and things to talk about. Also, I do have actually recorded a tutorial for a polymer clay items. I just haven't edited them yet, and that was some time ago. The main reason for that is because I needed to get a new SD micro SD adapter. The one we had before wasn't working anymore. I have managed to get one, but since then I've had to prioritize editing other videos for church and things like that, so that's taken up my time. So I am going to try and get on with doing that. And there's also another video of the cake box kit review. There's one I did previously with the triple lattes and Little Miss. The next one I did on my own. There's still another cake box mix, which is, I'll just have it here. And they keep asking when we're going to do it, so I'm not sure yet, but we will do it at some point. And there's a gingerbread biscuit mix as well, so I was going to do something with that with them. So that one I might just bake it myself, and then they can just do a short video showing themselves decorating it, and I'll do one decorating it. The cake mix one we probably will do, is just when we will do it is the issue. Yeah, so that's the plans I have for future things. In terms of makes, I think I'm trying to focus more on the knitting side of things and not so much polymer clay. It's something I've been thinking about. Do I want to be more of a knitwear designer or more of a polymer clay designer? And I want to be more of a knitting designer. So I am still going to do the polymer clay charms and other stitch markers and things like that, and the beads and crystal stitch markers, but my main focus is going to be with the designing, and especially now it's hard to bring out all the clay stuff and make things, and even the stones and crystals, bringing them out to make things is difficult when there's kids everywhere, and I have to then stop and get back to doing the homeschooling with them. So pattern designing at the minute is easier because all I need to bring out is my yarn and what I'm working on, and then once that's done, write things up on the laptop. So even though it has been hard finding time to do that, because days are spent with them, and even when they're not doing any homeschool or learning, I'm then having to do other things around the house. Then in the evening there's more like a wind down, and I have to think to myself, do I really want to now bring the laptop out and start all of this? So yeah, it's just trying to get a good balance of things. But hopefully there's a half term coming up, not next week the 25th is technically a half term, so yeah, they will have a half term holiday, and I'll try and use that time to do more write-ups and other things. And there are other things I have planned that I would like to do as well, such as an ebook to help people who are interested in designing but don't know where to start. That's something that I've been thinking of putting together. So it's just how to do that and what's going to be in that. So that's one other thing I'm thinking about. But yeah, that's what I have been up to lately. Other than this video, I am going to see if I can do another tutorial. Maybe this time it will be a crochet tutorial, we'll see. I've realized that I can actually do voiceovers for my tutorials and things like that. So for the polymer clay one, I might actually make that a voiceover. I was talking as I was making the items, but I might just take off the audio and turn it into a voiceover one. If that does work well, then it means I would be able to do more tutorials, because I don't have to worry about any noise in the background and everybody keeping quiet. As long as Mr. U is here, then I could just come in the bedroom and set myself up and do something, and they can do anything they want there. So hopefully that will work well. So yeah, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for joining me. If you're a new viewer, I hope you have enjoyed looking at the little bits and bobs that I have here, and that you do come back again. And please do check out my stores for my patterns. I have a store on Ravelry, Etsy and Lovecraft. The links for those will be at the bottom. And also don't forget to come over to Instagram and, you know, say hello there too. And please do comment, share, like and subscribe if you haven't already. Great, always great having more people come on board and reading comments and just seeing that people actually enjoy what you're doing. And yeah, the more of those I get, the more I may come up in people's recommendations, which is always very nice. So that's it from me. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and I will hopefully see you soon. Bye.